Welcome back everyone to a new video on the channel. A little bit of a different one. You guys have all seen the swim, bike, and run that I do, but today I'm going to be taking you through a little bit of the strength that I do. Well, not me. I'm actually going to have Coach Harold, NVDM strength coach. I thought why not bring him on, talk about the advantages to incorporating strength training to endurance training, because lots of times people often think of strength training and running, swimming, biking as kind of opposites. Wouldn't you agree?
Sure.
Yeah. But there is, obviously, Harold will attest to this, that there are benefits to incorporating strength with endurance. Isn't that correct?
Absolutely, yeah. As a matter of fact, when I first got started in this sport, there wasn't a lot of crossover. Like, endurance athletes did very little, if any at all, strength training. And it was kind of a groundbreaking thing. Probably about 20 years ago, we started to get the science into practical application, and people have been catching up with it really over the last 20 years. And it's great as a strength coach now to see how accepted and how well just basic knowledge, or just well known, that strength training can help you as an endurance athlete.
Now, Coach Harold, one of the questions I get asked most often is, how often should I strength train? And like, what are the sets and reps that I should do? Because obviously that's going to be a little bit different from, you know, your typical football player, or, you know, just primarily strength training athlete. Is that correct?
Absolutely, yeah. So the first thing we need to do to answer that question is to define strength training, right? Because going to the gym is probably one of the most versatile training environments that you can have as an athlete. Yeah. You can be in the gym working with barbells and doing strength training, but you could do it, 1,000 different ways. So that depends on where you are in your season. When we're in the off season as endurance athletes, I would bump up the amount of muscular strength focus that I'm doing in the gym and do more actual strength training, what people perceive to be strength training. And that's going to look different when you're in season. When you're in season, you have races, let's say you're racing every 6 weeks or maybe every 8 weeks, or some of us are racing shorter distance races. They may be racing more often. And in-season work is going to look different. You're going to be doing less actual strength-specific training sessions in the gym. Got it. And when I say strength, I mean where your focus is to gain muscular strength. That doesn't mean you can't go to the gym several other times a week and focus on mobility, focus on movement patterns, focus on things that are neglected from swim, bike, and run to keep your body moving well throughout the season, staying helping staying injury-free and those types of things. So if you're doing mobility-focused sessions, you could do 2 or 3 of those a week, and they don't have to be an hour long each. They can be 30, 45 minutes. And then, as far as actual real strength training goes, during the season, 1 to 2 sessions is probably plenty, but in the off season, I would increase that to 2, maybe 3 sessions for some of the more strength limited athletes. Got it.
There you guys have it. 1 to 2 strength focused sessions during the week for in-season athletes, and in the off season, maybe bump that up a bit. And since we're currently in season, I am only doing 1 or 2 strength focused workouts right now. And I'm actually going to be doing one of those right now today at Coach Harold's gym. So I think for the rest of this video, we'll just kind of show you what a typical NVDM midweek strength focused workout looks like. And yeah, that'll be it. So we're going to finish up this warm up, and then we'll have Coach Harold kind of explain the movements that we're going to be going into and exercises, and then we'll demonstrate how to do those on here. So yeah.
All right, so now we're moving into, we just got finished with our warm-up, and the warm-up is just that. It's specifically just to get the blood flowing, warm the tissues up, get the body ready for a workout. Before we hit our main lifts for the day, I always like to do what I call a prep circuit. And the prep circuit is just what it says, right? It's to prepare the body for the main lift. So today's prep circuit, we're gonna have 4 exercises that are specific to preparing the body for our main lift today, which is actually gonna be barbell hip thrusts. So in the prep circuit, we are going to do good mornings. We are going to do some terminal knee extension. We're going to do a little bit of core work with some anti-rotation. And then we are also going to do some glute hip work with some monster walks. So we'll go through that rotation 3 times, or go through that circuit 3 times, and that'll prepare us for the main lifts. We'll hit the hip thrust right after that.
All right, let's do it.
Perfect. Small steps, keep it wide, keep the tension on the band. Push those knees out a little bit. That you're perpendicular to where the band is coming from. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this band right here, center of chest, lock in my core, lock in the hips, and then I'm going to go to an anti-rotation press. So I'm going to press that band out, hold it, and then bring it back. And the idea is that you're having to lock in all these muscles in your trunk so that you don't rotate in towards the band, because the band is trying to pull you in towards it.
Got it.
Lock it, and then bring it back. Hit our hip thrust right here.
And why hip thrust, Coach Harold?
Because you want a strong posterior, right? You want to get strong glutes. Hip thrusts aren't just for the Instagram models. Hip thrusts are for people who want to have strong butt, right? And a lot of where we get our strength on the bike and from on the run comes from the glutes, comes from the hips. So we want to do hip thrusts. Hip thrusts with a barbell. We want to go heavy. We want to get strong, right? Don't be scared to put some weight on the barbell on this exercise. One of the reasons why I like this exercise is because the proficiency is low. Like, you don't have to have a lot of skill to do it well with a lot of weight.
Got it.
Whereas with a squat or a deadlift, the mechanics are a little more tricky, a little more difficult. So getting the form correct so you don't hurt yourself with a heavy load is something to think about. Whereas hip thrust, we can put a lot of weight on the barbell. Most of us can move more weight than we think we can. We can increase that load, gain more muscular strength, and the form aspect of it is not as much of a factor.
Now what's the rep scheme?
Today we're going to do 6 sets. We're going to do 3 sets of 8 reps, and then we're going to increase the weight and do 3 sets of 5 reps.
Got it. All right. Let's grow a big butt, Jonathan.
Sideboard squats right here.
And what's the idea of these?
Sideboard squats, we're focusing on a range of motion, right? We want to get the most degrees of deflection that we can get. And we also want to work a squat pattern with our heels raised so we can improve our mechanics of our squat when we get under the barbell.
Got it.
So the slam board, we're going to get into a position right here, hold the dumbbell in a goblet squat. And the idea is to keep your torso as vertical as possible when you go down. So that's what's going to help you improve your squat when you get under a barbell, is the movement pattern of leaning forward like this is what we want to try to counteract or work against. So with your heels up on the slam board, you're more likely to be able to do that. So we want to hold the dumbbell in a goblet position right here. We're just going to go all the way down, full range of motion as low as you can go.
Strongest hip flexors in the game, baby. Jonathan Ward. Well, that's gonna wrap up the strength session. Good work, Jonathan. Thank you, Coach Harold. Anything you wanna finish the video off with? What were the 4 things that you're saying that you need to focus on? The mobility?
When we're looking at mobility, when we go to the gym, I don't necessarily call that street training, right?
Yeah.
Every endurance athlete should be doing some form of mobility work. You don't even really need a gym to do it. You can do it with just body weight and bands at your home. It's real easy to do. But there's 4 areas that you want to focus on. You want to focus on your ankle mobility, you want to focus on your hip mobility, your spine, and your shoulders, right? So as long as you're doing some form of mobility piece for each of those 4 body segments, then you're probably going to be in a good place.
There you go. We'll end it with that. I'll catch you in the next one.